Welcome back. You're watching To The Point. Shanti Bhushan's sharp criticism of Arvind Kejriwal has not only hit the front pages, but revived memories of Yogendra Yadav's earlier criticism of the Aam Aadmi Party's national convener. In fact, the truth is, there have been a spate of Aam Aadmi Party voices who've spoken out against Arvind Kejriwal. Joining me now to discuss the situation and what Arvind Kejriwal's future looks like is Aam Aadmi Party leader and former television anchor Ashutosh. Ashutosh, let's start with Shanti Bhushan's comments about Arvind Kejriwal before we widen our discussion. Mr. Bhushan says, Arvind Kejriwal lacks organizational ability. He does not have the kind of competence which can spread the party's message all over India. Don't your disastrous election results, where you fielded 434 candidates, only for one, which is less than 1%, actually prove Shanti Bhushan is correct?
No, I don't think so, because if I remember correctly, I think it was Arvind Kejriwal who wanted to contest only limited number of seats. It was Shanti Bhushan and Yogendra Yadav who wanted to contest at all India level. And it was the democratic spirit of Arvind Kejriwal that he let it go and he did not object.
But I'm not talking about lack of democratic spirit. I'm talking about lack of organizational ability. If he had organized, more than 4 would have won. It's the lack of organization, more importantly, his inability to spread the party's message that is responsible for the fact that less than 1% of your candidates won.
See, Karan, you have to understand this entire logic with in a context, because it was Arvind Kejriwal. If he didn't have the organizational capacity, he wouldn't have built up the Anna movement, which was a global phenomenon in that sense. Secondly, he also made the Aam Aadmi Party in 1.5 years' time, and it created a history in Indian politics by gaining 28 seats. And on 8th December 2013, it was Aam Aadmi Party's victory in Delhi, which was much talked about than 2/3 majority in Madhya Pradesh and in Chhattisgarh. So if he did not have that organizational capacity, he wouldn't have built these two world-class organizations.
You're making a good point, that the movement that he launched under Anna Hazare was clearly proof that he has organizational capacity. But the point Shanti Bhushan is making, he hasn't, in the 2 years that the Aam Aadmi Party has been in existence, translated that into creating an organization for the Aam Aadmi Party. Let me quote something else Shanti Bhushan says. He says, a delay of 2 years in getting the elected structures in place has damaged the party badly. And I put this to you. This is not just irresponsible, it's almost unforgivable not to have done it in 2 years.
No, but I think this statement of his is half-truth, for the simple reason, because if you see, first of all, Arvind Kejriwal has a foresight to realize the fact that we should strengthen our cadre and organization in Delhi. Right now, I am the convener of the Delhi organization, and I can tell you that there is a booth level organization which is very systematically managed by Arvind Kejriwal himself. Secondly, at the all India level, there is a system called Mission Vistar. And there is
that's only just been created 6-7 weeks ago after the Delhi results. Let's be honest, after the national results.
Let me complete. In the last 6-7 months, if you see, firstly, the whole party was busy with the Delhi election and after the parliamentary elections. Now we just got 2 months time. In 2 months time, he created a blueprint. He made people in charge of that, made observers, sending people, and now we have made a.
So you're saying to me that contrary to Mr. Bhushan's claim that Arvind Kejriwal has failed to create a organizational structure, contrary to his claim that he's failed to spread the party's message, you say, both in terms of creating organizational structure and spreading the message, Arvind Kejriwal has been very successful.
I think so.
Is this a view that others echo? Because many speaking privately don't hesitate to say Shanti Bhushan is right. They may not say it publicly, but they're saying it privately. Are you sure you're not just a lone voice?
Karan, can I ask a question as a counter question? How many organizations, the political organization, has spread their wings in 2 years' time at all India level?
How many organizations put up 434 candidates and less than 1% won?
Probably that was a tactical mistake which we made. But Arvind didn't want that kind of as many seats wanted to contest. It was the Shanti Bhushan and others who wanted to contest.
Except for the fact that Arvind is the leader and this decision was taken under his leadership, and so he carries the can for the decision. But where he is to blame is that if you field 434, which is a huge number, and by the way, it was more than the BJP and it was more than Congress, and you don't have the organizational capacity, and you don't realize that you don't have the organizational capacity, then you're making 2 mistakes. One, you're fielding candidates without the backup, and 2, you don't realize that you're making the mistake, so that's a double mistake.
Let me put a counter argument. In 1.5 years' time, now the Aam Aadmi Party has a very strong presence, at least in 430 seats. We might not have won as many seats, we might have lost as many deposits. But if you remember, in 1.5 years...
Hang on a second.
Let me complete. In how many political parties in independent India has managed to make two major breakthroughs, one in Delhi and another in Punjab? Not any other political parties, if you take the example, they didn't have to.
Ashutosh, the facts of what you've decided in the last few weeks contradict your claim that now you're in a position, and those are your words, now we're in a position to field 434 candidates. But you're not contesting Maharashtra, you're not contesting Haryana. So if you're in a position to field 434, then please contest Haryana, contest Maharashtra and win them. You can't have both positions at the same time, they're contradictory.
I agree with you. I fully agree with you. Probably.
You can't agree with me because I'm contradicting you.
No. Probably that was the reason Arvind didn't want to contest as many seats as people and other part of the party wanted him to do that.
Let's move on. Let's not get lost on that point. Mr. Bhushan has made a further point about Arvind Kejriwal. He says he is not a leader elected by AAP members and therefore he cannot be the sole voice of the party.
If again I'll say what to comment on this. Everybody knows that Arvind Kejriwal is not only the one among the equal, but he is the only mass leader this political party has. If you had been with him in his political rallies, you will realize what kind of enthusiasm he creates in the people, energy in the crowd.
The point Bhushan Sahab is making is this, that your foundational core National Council is not elected. Your constitution says it should be. The constitution requires it to be elected by active members, but at the moment your party can't work out what are active members. So the possibility of that election keeps receding rather than coming forward, and Arvind is not taking steps to make that election happen quickly.
For that matter, why to blame only Arvind Kejriwal? The entire political party is unelected in that sense.
Yes, absolutely.
So, but there was a provision in the party itself. There is a provision in the constitution itself. Let's have an organization. Let's have our primary members intact, and then you go for the elections. And there was a provision of elected member at each and every level. So we have to understand things in the terms of
the point Mr. Bhushan is making is that Arvind hasn't taken enough steps to ensure expeditious holding of elections. He's slow and dilatory rather than pushing and fast.
I don't want to argue with Shanti Bhushan for the simple reason because he's an esteemed colleague of us and we have great respect for him. But unfortunately,
age shouldn't be a problem.
No. Unfortunately, it's not truth.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's not truth what he's saying.
Let's then leave Shanti Bhushan aside. You dispute it on the grounds that he's not speaking the truth. In other words, he's speaking...
No, it's a half-truth.
Okay. Not the full truth, a half-truth. A half-truth is pretty tantamount to a lie, but I won't invite you to say it's a lie.
No.
I won't invite you to say that.
I will not disrespect you by making such a statement.
Let's come now...
I have a tremendous respect for it.
Let's come now to other people who've said things that are very similar. You see, when it comes to complaining about the lack of organization, Shanti Bhushan isn't the only voice. Yogendra Yadav, in his letter in June, it was a letter that was made public, had the following to say. Much of the organization is in a state of chaos. There is no clear chain of command and the state leadership is often confused about how to get in touch with the center and take critical decisions. Yogendra Yadav is saying the same thing as Shanti Bhushan, that Arvind Kejriwal has failed to create a credible, proper organization, and he is the party leader.
You know what there is a difference between what Shanti Bhushan has said and what Yogendra Yadav has
language
said.
Only.
No, I'm not talking about the language. I'm talking about Yogendra Yadav has raised these issues in the party forum. And within the party forum, every member and every office bearer has a right to speak up. Yeah. But that does not mean.
But the point they're making is the same, and these are two foundational members saying that Arvind has failed to create an organization, and they're both saying it. It doesn't matter whether one said it publicly and was indiscreet, and the other said it privately and therefore was discreet. No, the point is the same. The criticism is the same. Arvind has failed.
Karan, Aam Aadmi Party is a democratic party. And in a democratic party, there will be difference of opinion. Everybody will have a different perception.
This is more than difference of opinion. This is serious criticism.
This is a difference of opinion.
It's serious criticism.
I am also the member of the PAC. I am also the member of the National Executive. I do not share the viewpoints what Yogendra Yadav is saying. And I do not share the viewpoint what Shanti Bhushan is saying. Does it mean that we have within the party forum, we can hold the antagonistic position?
So far, we're talking about criticism of Arvind Kejriwal's inability or failure to create organization. Let's come to other criticisms, not about organization, but about other things. Now, both Shanti Bhushan and Yogendra Yadav are deeply concerned about the failure of the Aam Aadmi Party to devise policies on the critical national issues India grapples with today. I'm going to quote Yogendra Yadav. A serious deficit in policy thinking afflicts the party, he says. Our immediate response to an issue becomes our policy. The party leadership has no time for discussing the policy of the party. If you're a political party that believes you could rule India one day, you have to have policies. If you haven't made an effort to create policies, it's a damning indictment, and it's coming from inside.
What Yogendra Yadav has said, you have a letter of him. I don't know, discuss this thing outside the party forum, but I just want to comment only this much, that we have a group of 31, we have 31 groups, and all the 31 groups have been given the responsibility of formulating the policies of the different sectors. This is in the process of being formulated. I want to tell you.
The funny thing is, you fought a national election without policies. You're not going to formulate the policies after defeat. Bizarre.
Karan, you must have seen the vision document which we have. You must have seen the party manifesto. So how can we have a party manifesto and vision document without having the policy formula? I am saying is that in 1.5 year party, you don't expect party to behave like other political parties, which is a history of 100 years.
Let me say
and
this.
50 years.
I expect a party that fields 434 candidates and believes that it could be in a position to form a government and rule the country to have policies. I don't expect it to say we'll make up the policies afterwards if we win.
Karan,
You're still struggling.
we never lived in the dream that we are going to form the government in this country.
Why did you contest 434 seats then?
The purpose behind contesting so many elections was to spread the party message and have a cadre and the volunteers in every part of the country.
In which case, why you stopped contesting 434? Why now are you restricting yourselves to Delhi? You're contradicting yourself again.
I'm not contradicting myself. I'm just saying this, that understand this, that 1.5 years back, we just have presence only in Delhi. Now we have a presence all over India.
Yes, but if you have a presence all over India, contest Maharashtra, contest Haryana, but you decided not to.
You have a fair point. You have a fair point. And these are the questions which we have. We are trying to understand for the simple reason, because in Haryana and Maharashtra, after having our volunteer presence, it's important to consolidate our gain over there.
All right.
And contesting election is not the only way to consolidate.
You're in a generous mood when you say I have a fair point. I thank you for having said it, but that fair point actually underlines what I would call a contradiction in the party. But leave that aside, we've argued over it. I want to come to something else that Yogendra Yadav has said about Arvind Kejriwal, and frankly speaking, this goes much beyond anything Shanti Bhushan has said. Yogendra Yadav, in that famous letter, called Arvind Kejriwal a supremo, not a leader. He said the party is falling prey to the disease of a personality cult. And then, more importantly, he said the following: major decisions in the party appear to and indeed do reflect the wishes of one person. When he changes his mind, the party changes its course of action. Proximity to the leader comes to substitute for organizational roles and responsibilities. The real question is, Yogendra Yadav asks, whether there are limits to the personal discretion of the leader. What Mr. Yadav is saying is that one man and his whims or wishes or caprices influence and determine your party.
Again, it's a half-truth.
It's a half-truth?
It's a half-truth. And I don't want to contradict what Yogendra Yadav has said, because he's a very esteemed Kalinga point, but I also want to emphasize the point.
You have to contradict it if you want to defend Arvind.
Let me emphasize the point for the simple reason. One, it was not Arvind Kejriwal who wanted to contest all the parliamentary seats in Delhi. That itself suffices the fact that Arvind Kejriwal is not a dictator. He doesn't behave like a supremo. Secondly, all the decisions in the party is taken by PAC, and if it is not resolved in the PAC, it goes to the national executive. Recently, on the question of Haryana and Maharashtra, it was not the Arvind Kejriwal who decided, it was the PAC which has decided, and after the PAC, it was taken to the national executive. National executive sat for 3 days in Sangrur, and in 1.5 days was spent on Haryana. So it's not the Arvind Kejriwal who decided, it is the national executive who decided.
You know, I'm very interested to hear the stress you put on the PAC making the decisions, because this point made by Mr. Yadav in that letter is that there are many people who are not members of the PAC who attend PAC meetings. They ought not to be there, but they are there. And secondly, he says, quite often, the PAC is deliberately overridden. So you're claiming that the PAC takes decisions. He's saying people who shouldn't be in the PAC are there. I presume they are lackeys and friends of Arvind Kejriwal there to support him. And then quite often, even after that, the PAC is overridden. So your claim about the PAC doesn't take you very far.
I do not agree with this point. Even the Lenin and the Mao had been blamed that they ran the party because on their...
Lenin and Mao were not Democrats.
No.
Lenin's theory was democratic centralism, which was another word for dictatorship. So it's an odd comparison.
So let me also tell you why even the Lenin had the audacity to go against the minority viewpoint in the parliament in 1919 in the Politburo. And that's where the role of the leadership comes in.
Is Arvind Kejriwal your Lenin? Is Arvind Kejriwal Lenin?
Karan, listen to me. It is the personality of the leader, and it is his persuasive power which creates a minority opinion with the majority opinion. That is what Lenin did, and that is what the great leaders are supposed to do. And today I can tell you with the full confidence that those who are making the allegations that Arvind Kejriwal is making a decision, they probably had not seen the functioning of the PSC and the national executive. They should have come and sit and sat over there.
Just a moment. Yogendra Yadav hasn't seen the functioning of the PSC. I'm not talking about Yogendra Yadav. He's the one making the criticism.
I'm saying I'm not passing any judgment on what Yogendra Yadav has said. I'm just passing the judgment. The people are saying that Arvind Kejriwal, he makes a judgment and he behaves like dictator.
It's not people, forgive me, it's Yogendra Yadav who said it.
I'm not commenting on what Yogendra Yadav is saying. I'm just simply stating a fact. It is stating a fact.
Just tell me this. You compared Arvind Kejriwal to Lenin. You said that in fact his personality...
I'm comparing Arvind Kejriwal when I was comparing the leadership qualities of the great persons. Leadership quality, it may be Jawaharlal Nehru. Even Jawaharlal Nehru was blamed that he just listened to a few voices.
Is there a personality cult?
Was blamed, Atal Bihari Vajpayee was blamed that just listening to a few voices.
Is there a personality cult? You know, when people are compared to Lenin and Mao, and you are the one who made the comparison, it brings to my mind what Yogendra Yadav said. There's a personality cult. You're elevating Arvind Kejriwal to the level of Lenin and Mao. That to me suggests Mr. Yadav is correct when he says there is a personality cult. You're proving it.
See, in Indian context, unfortunately, I differ with Yogendra Yadav on this question, because there is no doubt that Arvind Kejriwal is the biggest leader Aam Aadmi Party has. He's the only mass leader.
Is he Lenin?
No. Lenin in terms of leadership, that's a different thing altogether. Do not compare the ideologies of the two different great leaders.
I'm not comparing ideologies. I'm comparing personal influence and hold, and whether there's a personality cult and personality cult.
Karan, a leader Karan, a leader cannot lead if he doesn't have if people are not inspired by energy, by persuasive powers.
Let me put this to you.
Leader has to be persuasive.
Let me put this to you,
that kind of personality.
It's not just at the end of the day Shanti Bhushan and Yogendra Yadav who publicly are critical of Arvind Kejriwal.
No, Yogendra Yadav has not been publicly critical. I'm sorry, because this is
public. Here it is.
This letter is leaked.
And it's not leaked. Yogendra Yadav was here in June talking about this letter.
Let's be fair.
The fact that he's prepared to talk about it, the fact that he answers questions means it's become public.
Karan, I think you should be fair with Yogendra Yadav. Yogendra Yadav letter was on the party forum, not outside the party forum.
Forgive me. The point I made was different. The point I made was different. He was prepared to come and do an interview in June, as you did and as you are now, and talk about it. If he talks about his letter and defends it and explains why he said it and explains what he means, then he's making it public. And that's what I'm saying. It's become public. The second he did the interview here, he made it public.
But there's a difference.
Well, I don't know if there's a difference.
Shanti Bhushan made a statement in the public forum.
Let me come back to this.
So let's not let these are the two different
The point
issues.
I'm making is a different one. It's not just Yogendra Yadav and Shanti Bhushan. Shahzia Ilmi has broken with you. Vinod Bini's parted with you. Captain Gopinath and Madhu Baduri have parted company with you. The papers say Kumar Vishwas is upset. And then there's a whole lot of lower order people, and I don't mean to insult them, Rakesh Agarwal, Ashwini Upadhyay, Karan Singh. Is your party falling apart?
The party is made of only these people. Party is made of thousands and thousands of people, and these thousands of people are with Arvind Kejriwal. You're talking about the Captain Gopinath. I don't remember when he became the member and when he resigned. And once
you mean he was never a member?
No, I don't remember, because once I
you may not remember, but are you questioning the fact?
That's intriguing fact.
Are you questioning the fact?
No, I'm asking. I'm saying a different thing.
It may have been before you joined. It may have been before you joined.
No, Karan, let me clear. In one of the TV discussion, and I asked Captain Gopinath, you are opposing Aam Aadmi Party stand on the FDI. Did you read the manifesto? He hadn't read the manifesto, and I said, you are, without reading the manifesto, you are becoming a member of the party, and that's why I asked the question. I don't even remember when you became the member, when you resigned. About other gentlemen, they were the party members, and they were esteemed colleagues of ours. They had differences with the party. They have differences on several issues. And in a democratic party, there will be differences.
Two quick questions, because we're running out of time. You say to me the party is not falling apart. You say there are thousands who continue to support Arvind Kejriwal. But despite that, there are some very, very important people, Shanti Bhushan, Yogendra Yadav, to name just two, who are sharply critical of Arvind Kejriwal. Are they all wrong?
No, I'm not saying wrong. In a democratic party, there will be differences. You mean to say that the Aam Aadmi Party should behave like a Leninist party, the Maoist party, where the differences and dissent is not acceptable? You mean to say that?
I tell you what the problem with difference is, when those differences are about the capacity and capability and the performance of the leader. They undermine the leader. You can have differences over ideology.
People have a very different opinion about
When you undermine the leader, when you undermine the leader, the questions that are asked is, how long can Arvind Kejriwal continue as national convener? And I'm going to ask you that. How long can he continue when the Shanti Bhushans and the Yogendra Yadavs are questioning his organization, when they're questioning his leadership, when they're questioning whether he has the right to speak for the party? How long can he continue as national convener?
Karan, you know Indian history more than me. You remember when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister. Now the whole BJP worships him. Same Atal Bihari Vajpayee was in tears in 2005. Why? Because he was very, very critically attacked when he was the Prime Minister. And it was blamed that his PM...
he wasn't.
Before, he cried in 2005. When he was a Prime Minister, it was blamed that his PMO was run by the Americans and by the American stooges. Does it mean that Atal Bihari Vajpayee was a lesser leader? Right. And in the same way, Arvind Kejriwal also. So, a leader being criticized is...
So, Arvind Kejriwal will continue.
We have in India as a
Kejriwal will continue as national convener.
Certainly, there is no doubt about it.
All right, I will end this interview there. My thanks to you for coming to answer my questions. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. And there we end this particular episode. If you have been, thanks for watching. Goodbye. Good night.